Yeah, so maybe, I mean, just to start, like, how'd you get here? How'd you get to Provo, Utah today?
Well,
The journey that got you here.
I don't know how I got here. It was very unconventional, and like most things in my life, it wasn't scripted, you know? It was a combination of following. I love newness, I love challenges, I have passion for things that get me excited, that are hard and challenging, and my business journey has been that, just unconventional. And you know, I'm an unusual entrepreneur in the sense that I've been in multiple fields. I've been in beverage, I've been in music, I've been in private aviation, I've been in the event business, the coaching business. So I bounced around a little bit.
So, but talk a little bit about that, because I think so many people come into it and say, like, okay, I need to go get my degree first, and then I do this, and then I internship, and that's not your path.
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, entrepreneurs either do one of two things. Either they create something new, brand new, or they make stuff better.
Yeah.
And I've always had an eye for both of those things, and I'm drawn to newness, and I'm drawn to like, wow, I wish this could be a little bit better. So I fit that mold really well, and I get bored easily. So I'm not a great operator, but I like to, you know, I wouldn't say a visionary, but I like to identify trends and that kind of stuff. So once I get something and it's on solid ground, I have great management, it allows me to move into something new.
But it's just been a gift always? Like, it was just intuitive?
No, I mean, I'm back of the pack. I wouldn't say it's a gift at all. I think that I'm just aware, you know. I put myself out there, and not everything works, but I like that. I'm driven by those challenges.
But so many people, especially today, they're self-conscious. They're scared to like put themselves out there. They're, you know, like they won't take that risk for fear of whatever everybody else thinks. Was that just never you? Like, do you have like?
Well, I've realized that the greatest gift anybody can give themselves is getting over the fear of being embarrassed. That's super liberating. And as soon as you can get over that fear of being embarrassed, it opens up the universe to a completely new, you know, to new lanes. And I discovered that at a young age. I don't know what triggered it, but I realized that like I'm okay being embarrassed.
You just never cared.
Does it look like it? Not really. I mean, I always, you know, my dad marched to his own drum.
Yeah.
He did things differently, and that was inspiring to live under that. I had nothing to do with that. I didn't pick my parents, and I was fortunate to be in an environment where my dad encouraged that risk-taking, not caring what other people thought, you know, like, so I was around that. So when you're around that a lot and you create that environment for your children,
yeah,
you pick up on it as a kid. So I think that played a big role in it.
Yeah. So if you were to go back to your 18-year-old self, what do you tell your 18-year-old self?
Go back a year ago?
Like, what do you tell yourself? Like, if you're like going and coaching yourself, what advice are you giving?
At 18, I would tell myself, don't give up your teens and your 20s. You know, people try to skip steps. Like, in your 20s, you should be a 20-year-old. You should try different things. You should get as many life experiences under the hood that you can. Meet as many people. Find out what you like to do. Find out what you're good at. Find out what you're bad at. Those are all important lessons. And, you know, nowadays you get a lot of advices, you know, hustle hard. And like, I wouldn't trade anything, you know, to miss what I got in my 20s. You know, no check would be big enough. I got to experience a lot, you know.
To trade that out.
I would never trade that out. So it's important to like, you know, you see people on Instagram or whatever, and they're instant millionaires or 10 millionaire, you know, tens of millions or whatever. That's their story. Good for them. You know, but that's rare.
Yeah.
And the other side of it is, I've had a lot of friends that, you know, that gave up their 20s. They had stressful jobs and this and that. And I'm not saying don't work hard or anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm saying when I was 18, I liked the route that I took.
Because I was gonna say, like, you're one of the hardest workers out there. So you're obviously not like saying like don't work hard, because you do work hard.
I play harder though. So I work.
But I think both of them are kind of work. Like, it's working on yourself
Absolutely.
And, but like, you're not like shying away from hard things.
No.
Ever,
No, I mean, I don't think anyone has to go to Harvard to know you have to work hard. Like, everybody knows you have to work hard. But I always, since I was 21 or 18 years old, over-indexed and overemphasized experiences. Always. Even when I was building Marquis Jet or Zico Coconut Water, any of the big companies that I've had, there was always another side of me that was in personal development and, family time, friends, and this. And that made me better at work. I didn't have the guilt and the resentment that I'm sacrificing this to get what I wanted in business. So I worked really hard, but it didn't impact how hard I played.
Talk about spirituality. Like, how do you think about spirituality? Like, how do you think about like coincidences that happen in your life that you look back and say, I did nothing for that, and that changed the course of my life? Like, when you're thinking through that, like, how do you think about it?
I think most of the coincidences or luck that happened in my life were the result of me putting myself in a situation where I could attract that luck. So like the coincidences, they don't happen when you're at home watching, the Kardashians. They happen when you're out and about and all of a sudden something happens and you take advantage of it. So a big part of entrepreneurship is putting yourself in an environment where you can attract luck. I used to come back at Marquis Jet and be like, oh, how'd you get that sale? You're so lucky. I'm like, no, I was the last one at the bar. Like, I stayed longer than you.
You were in the game.
Right, I stayed longer than you. I made the extra call. So I put myself in an environment where those coincidences could happen.
So talk about the luckiest you've ever been. The luckiest.
My wife. I mean, come on, man. Outkick the coverage.
So give me the, how did it happen? Which I'm like the biggest fan of Sarah as well. Like, her story's crazy.
Sarah was a customer of mine at Marquis Jet.
Okay.
And we met at a customer appreciation event. And again, that's a perfect example of like luck and coincidence. Like, no, I started a company, my customers were really important. She happened to be a customer. Like, it's all interrelated. Oh, you're so lucky, you met your wife through your business. No, I had to start my business. I had to invite customers to events. I had to care. I had to follow up. So all of those played a role, but we met through my work.
Talk about your experience with David Goggins and like, what did you learn?
I learned a lot. We met at a race in 2006. Well, I met him. He didn't meet me. I saw him at a race in 2006, and then I cold called him, and we became friends. And what I love most about the time that he spent with us, and he spent quite a bit of time at our house, not just 30 days. We spent a lot of time together over a period of a couple of years. Was this the simplicity? Like when who do you go to for advice? You go to like your parents or your grandparents because they're older and they're wiser. And what do all those people do when they get older? They downsize. They want a simpler life, Goggins had he lived super simple. He had a credit card. He had this. He had one bag of stuff. And like, I didn't want to get rid of my swimming pool, but I wanted to introduce a lot more simplicity into how I lived. Because life can get complicated as you get older and as you accumulate. It gets complicated. And, when you can simplify that, when you can accumulate but still stay simple, that's the jackpot, at least for me.
So have you applied? Like, have you taken that and like just said, I'm going to cut. I'm going to say no.
Friend reduction as I got older.
Yeah.
I want like lower aggravation in my life. That includes friends.
Yeah.
What used to be important to me, like your 20s and 30s are filled with a lot of ego, where you're trying to prove to people like, I can make my business work, or I could do this, or I could hit this goal.
Yeah.
But when you get older, that goes away. And life becomes a lot simpler when that happens. So a lot of it has just been in my mind. Like, today I'm going to go out there. What do you have, 1,500 people here, something like that?
Yep.
And I can have their reaction to me, I can't control it. I can only control my effort. I want to be liked. We all want to be liked. But I just got to go and empty the tank, man, and give them everything I can give for 45 minutes. And the chips will fall where they fall. And that's a lot different from me when I was 20 and I would go, how'd I do? How was it?
You needed the validation.
Yeah. There's nothing to validate. Like, So the track record's baked as you get older.
Yeah.
And now you can just live a much freer life.
So one of the things I really respect about you, the reason that we're not doing a Zoom and you're not actually coming a month or 2 months or 3 months is because you decided I'm going to be say no to more things. I'm going to be disciplined with my time. I'm going to like do it, you know, and say no to things. Like, how do you get to that point? Like,
because as you get older and I have 4 children and, you know, big goals come on my plate. As you start to put more on your plate, you have to take things off your plate. Otherwise, you're going to overflow and implode.
yeah,
I got a lot on my plate, so I have to be really careful of what I say. You know, your 20s is a great time to say yes to everything. You're meeting people, you're coming up, you're excited, you know, you're networking. 20s, 30s, even 40s, your 50s, 60s, and 70s are a great time to say no.
yeah,
And I'm in that part of my life right now. And by the way, I say yes to a lot of things. I just can't say yes to everything.
yeah,
And stuff like Zoom calls where I don't like to go too far out. And I don't like to go too far out because I always set myself and someone else up for failure.
yeah.
And I've learned that about me over time.
Cool.
You got to know yourself. What if my kids have a baseball playoff game and we have a Zoom? Like, I don't want to go that far
You're
out.
doing it, yeah. No, it makes sense. Maybe wrapping it up, we'll get you excited right now. Like, what are the things that when you think about this, say, this lights me up? Like, 2023, this is what kind of...
Yeah, impacting people is... ROI comes in so many different forms, and most people look at the return on investment, the ROI, in terms of dollars or percentages or whatever. And there's a lot of ways to chop up ROI. And for me, one of the big lanes is helping people. You know, I have a lot of experiences, business, in writing a book, being an author, living with monks. You know, I have a lot to share. So my wife always says, the more you experience, the more you can offer.
Yeah.
So I feel like I have a lot to offer, and that lights me up.
Yeah.
You know, if there's a couple of people at the conference that are moved or touched to do something differently that impacts them, that has a ripple effect. So if my ripple effect can be wider,
Yeah.
what better ROI is there than that?
Yeah.
What, getting another painting on the wall?
Yeah. So that gets you right now.
That
It's
gets
just
me
like
big
changing
time.
lives.
100% more than
Yeah.
anything. I wouldn't be here.
So my personal experience, what I did this morning was I woke up at 4:30 and I worked out and I cold plunged and I meditated, and a lot of those are practices that, you know, you inspired. So like I'm one of the people that I have daily rituals from seeing people that I just admire going for it, you know. So I'm one of those, and I'm so excited to, you know, have you go deliver to the crowd. So we're honored to have you here.
I appreciate it. And just so you know, I'm a compilation of a variety of people in my life that I've met that have had the same impact. I like their habits. I like their routines. I try them.
Yeah.
Whatever works for me sticks. Whatever doesn't, I throw it out. And what you just said, there's, you know, that's all I am. I'm a compilation of my dad or this one or that one.
You're paying it forward. And it's fun. So we're so excited to have you. So thank you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah,
Looking forward to it.
for sure.
Absolutely.